Hello and welcome to Renewed by Faith, where we are taking a deep dive into the book of Job. And for this video, we are reading chapter 27, Job's final words to his friends in the NIV version. This is a continuation of chapter 26, where Job responds to Bildad the Shuhite, who had mentioned to Job, how then can a mortal be more righteous or be righteous before God? So questioning Job's integrity. And then Job comes back and says, how have you helped the powerless? How have you saved the arm that is feeble? What advice have you offered to one without wisdom? Basically coming back with some sarcasm at Bildad for saying, how are you innocent? How are you to question my integrity when you're not perfect? None of us are perfect, right? And so in chapter 27, Job is going to continue his discourse, and this will be part of a series of Job's final responses to his friends before we see a new character come on the scene. So stick with me, chapter 27. I'm going to read from the NIV version, and it says, Job continued his discourse, as surely as God lives, who denied me justice, the Almighty, who has made my life bitter, as long as I have life within me, the breath of God in my nostrils, my lips will not say anything wicked, and my tongue will not utter lies. I will never admit that you are right till I die. I will not deny my integrity. I will maintain my innocence and never let go of it. My conscience will not reproach me as long as I live. May my enemy be like the wicked, my adversary like the unjust. For what hope have the godless when they are cut off? When does God take away their life? Does God listen to their cry when distress comes upon them? Will they find delight in the Almighty? Will they call on God at all times? I will teach you about the power of God. The ways of the Almighty I will not conceal. You have all seen this yourselves. Why then this meaningless talk? Here is the fate God allots to the wicked, the heritage a ruthless man receives from the Almighty. However many his children, their fate is in the sword. His offspring will never have enough to eat. The plague will bury those who survive him, and their widows will not weep for them. Though he heaps up silver like dust and clothes like piles of clay, what he lays up the righteous will wear, and the innocent will divide his silver. The house he builds is like a moth's cocoon, like a hut made by a watchman. He lies down wealthy, but will do so no more. When he opens his eyes, all is gone. Terrors overtake him like a flood. A tempest snatches him away in the night. The east wind carries him off, and he is gone. It sweeps him out of his place. It hurls itself against him without mercy, and he flees headlong from its power. It claps its hands in derision, and hisses him out of his place. So, chapter 27, Job is refusing to admit that he is guilty of the things that his friends are accusing him of doing, right? Being wicked. He's refusing to admit that. But just because he is not wicked does not mean that he's completely free of sin, does it? Does upright and blameless mean 100% perfect, 100% sinless? As we know from what Jesus did for us, we know that he was the only perfect human. So I have a hard time believing that Job is 100% without sin. And even if, let's say, that somebody was saying these things to us, we are not guilty of what they're accusing. Isn't it possible that there might be something within us that God wants to correct? That if we are humble before the Lord, that he might show us what it is that we needed to learn? I'm just saying that this is plausible thoughts for this situation. Who are we to ever think that we are fully not guilty? And is that the position that the Lord wants us to come at and come at God? Would you come at God in this situation and be like, God, I've never done anything wrong in my life. I don't deserve any of this. I mean, I'm sure we say that, and I'm sure we might think that, but is that truly true? Is there never been a moment in our life when we might have thought that we were better than somebody else, or done something in that way? So I just want us to think about it that way, that that even though Job is not necessarily guilty of what they're accusing him of, doesn't mean that he's fully guiltless, right? And so basically he doesn't back down in this chapter. He is holding on tight to his integrity, as he said, and then goes on to again talk about how the mighty power of God. He says, I will teach you about the power of God, the ways of the Almighty. You have seen this yourselves. And then he says talks about the fate of the wicked again, right? And that he's claiming he's not wicked. If he was wicked, all the things that he described in this chapter would be happening to him. Even though he is in suffering, he said that he would be completely destroyed by God if he was wicked. And so he maintains he is not wicked. He has not done what the friends accuse him of. And then in chapter 28, it's called, in my book, it says interlude, where wisdom is found. He kind of takes a break and discusses his thoughts on wisdom. And so it's kind of an interesting interlude, as it says, in between his final words to his friends. But I think what he wants to point out is the fact that where wisdom comes from and where can it be found, and are they questioning their wisdom? Are they being wise in what they're saying? Are they wise in knowing the Lord? Are they wise in knowing the power of the Lord? Are they wise enough to fear the Lord and shun evil? So join me in the next video for chapter 28, the interlude, where is wisdom found. I thank you so much for joining me for this chapter. I'm excited to be doing this Bible study with you. Thank you so much. If you are liking these videos, please hit like, subscribe, and continue joining me for this series of what is the real reason for Job's suffering. Well, we will find that out once we talk to God about it. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have an amazing day.